Everything happened so quickly.
And before I knew it, I had 2 little boys in my hands. This isn't it.
Yeah. No parent should ever having to decide.
Dads don't get the recognition. Nobody asks you how you are.
No. We don't want our babies to be forgotten.
Everything we do now is for them.
Yeah.
But you're not alone.
Keep talking about your children.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the TOAK YouTube channel. This is our first podcast episode.
Yep.
Might not be the last.
Maybe not.
We'll see how this one goes.
We'll see.
So if you're new to the channel and you're new to TOAK, first off, I'm Michael.
I'm Kylie.
And we are the mum and dad of Micah and Matthew. If you don't know what TOAK is, TOAK stands for two of a kind. So two of a kind is how we refer to Micah and Matthew, because they are our twin boys and they truly are two of a kind.
Yeah. And we decided that we wanted a name to have like an umbrella for fundraising and, raising money for charity and things. So we come up with TOAK, and that's when we're posting online and raising awareness for everything. We wanted to call it something short, and we thought TOAK was perfect.
And what this podcast is about, this is our story of Micah and Matthew and how we found out we were having twins, how they came into the world.
So currently, as we're filming, we're almost 3 years down the road in our grief journey, and we always had wanted to tell our story at some point, but we feel that now is a good time because we're gradually feeling stronger and able, I think, to speak. Hopefully not get too emotional, but if that happens, that's to be expected. But we are going to tell our story in this episode, and we just want to put it out there that it may have some upsetting, well, it is an upsetting topic, but just to make everybody aware, if you feel that you can't listen or anything, we don't want to trigger anybody, but just, I'm not sure how much detail that we're going to go into, but just as a pre-warning, just in case if you want to switch off, that's no problem at all.
So let's talk about the very beginning and talk about how we found out.
Well, I suppose a little bit about us first too. We've been together 22 years, believe it or not, which is crazy.
I don't know how that's possible. I'm only 25.
So yeah, we've been together 22 years almost, and coming up on 14 years married, and we both always had said that we would love children. But children was always something that was going to be part of our future, or what we had hoped. And we sadly had an early loss in 2015. And then roll on to 2023, we found out that we were expecting twins, and which was a big shock. Well, although when I say big shock, we always have joked about it for years because we both have a parent that's a twin. So we always had said, oh my goodness, it could skip a generation. We could end up having twins ourselves. And lo and behold, that's what ended up happening. And when we went for our early scan, because we booked in an early scan because of obviously previous early loss, I was really scared and anxious and just didn't really know. I just wanted reassurance. And I had been looking up online. I'm a serial Googler. I had been looking up online just to see what you can expect, on an ultrasound at that gestation. I think it was just under 8 weeks at that point. And I thought, I just want to be able to see, are we going to be able to see a heartbeat and all the rest of it, just to give us a rough idea. Went in and it came up on the screen straight away, because it was a private scan, it was in 4K. It came up on the screen and straight away I seen the two of them. And you could kind of tell by my reaction. And I just thought, I'm just waiting for her to say it, for the lady to say it. And she says, you're having twins. And I was like, wow.
And I remember looking at the screen, because there was a massive big screen on the wall, and I'm looking at it going, And if you've ever watched Friends, right, I am the epitome of Chandler Bing.
You're Chandler Bing.
Okay,
anyway,
so I was like, what? Twins? Twins? And Kylie is kind of like my Monica, and she was like, you're freaking out? And I'm like, yeah, join me, won't you?
It was the whole, you actually did say, we only ordered one.
We only ordered one, okay? It was just surreal. Like, I dropped my phone. I fell off the, it was like a sofa.
Yeah.
And I fell off it. I was like, it was just the absolute shock of it.
But so we were so excited, and when we come out and get into the car, we did film a wee bit of footage just of our reaction and the fact that it was twins and just how excited we were. And I remember the journey home, if I had £1 for every time that you had said 2 of everything, we're going to eat 2 of everything.
2 of everything.
So, yeah, and then obviously telling our family and friends, and
yeah, it was pretty special.
It was really special, and that's, I think, we try to take the positive from anywhere that we can, and having those memories are definitely, they're special to us.
Although we did get everybody with the scan photos.
We did.
Because we were like, yeah, so we have an announcement, and everybody, we've been together so long, and everybody's like, finally. And we handed the scan photos over, and then, everybody sort of looked at them. And I think the funniest one was my dad, because my dad was like, there you go, and he looked at it and he was like, oh, right. And I'm like, he doesn't
see the 2. No.
And he's like, oh, excellent, that's really good. And I'm like, have another look. And then he was, and then I think we actually just had to say, there's 2 of them there.
There's 2, yeah.
And then he was like, what?
Yeah.
And then he was like looking at it and trying to take it all in. It was,
between him and my granny, but of my granny not realising that I was showing our scan pictures, she thought maybe it was because we have a dog. We have Bear, and
he had fathered puppies.
He had fathered puppies. Not that long, I suppose, before. So she just, I think, thought that it was pups. So I had to then say, no, there are babies. They're in here. So it's lovely to have memories like that. And I think there was the shock too from, I think because obviously we had been together for so long, or we have been together for so long, I think there was the assumption too, we did have the question asked to us, did we go through IVF?
Yeah,
but we didn't.
Because it's twins, and twins can be a common occurrence with IVF.
There's more and more people having twins, conceiving naturally too now. We actually, when we were at the private scan that evening, we were the second couple of the day, I think, that found out we were having twins. It was lots of excitement.
Good memories.
Yeah, definitely. We were scared too, obviously, and a bit thinking, how are we going to cope with 2?
This coming from the lady that when we brought Bear home, she was like, I don't know if we're ready for a dog.
But no, I was keeping you going.
And I was like, well, he's coming home, like, it's too late.
But the advice that we had got was, we were starting with 2, so we didn't know any different. We wouldn't know what it was like to have a singleton, so
it would just be normal.
That would have been our normal. Feelings were excitement and obviously scared too. And I think throughout the pregnancy, because of our early loss before, I think until I had got past that point of where I had got before, do think I did start to relax a bit, because the pregnancy, up until the point that the boys were born, we didn't have really any cause for concern or anything like that, but it was an exciting but nerve-wracking time too.
Let's talk about the night they were born, because we both have 2 very connected but different experiences.
Yeah, we do. I think this is partly the reason why we do feel strongly. I certainly feel strongly about getting our story out there. And this year in our fundraising, we're trying to bring awareness to support for dads, because the part of our story, which I don't know if everybody knows, I know certainly close family and friends know, and anybody that has, spoken to us and asked us about it. But what some people don't realise is that you delivered our sons that evening. Everything all happened very, very quickly. The day before they were born, I was starting to have a few wee things going on, things happening, and I'd phoned the hospital to speak to them, and came off the phone after having a conversation. All of us were feeling reassured. We had a plan. We had settled ourselves. Then the next day, things hadn't really improved, and I was starting to get lower back pain and different pains and things. In the evening, I thought, right, okay, I'm going to have a bath. because anytime I normally have any pain or whatever, I do like a bath. And it was whenever I then got out of the bath that the pain really ramped up. But at no point did I ever think to myself, I'm in labour, because I just thought, no, I was only just under 22 weeks. But I thought, no, surely it couldn't be. And obviously because I had never been in labour before, whenever people talk about contractions, I thought, well, surely it would be your whole belly. I didn't think, because the pains that I was having was quite low down. Any of you who've been pregnant before, you may know that you can have constipation and things like that. And I just thought it was to do with wind. I thought it was like a trapped wind pain. And I kept saying to you, if I could only just pass wind, I'll be fine. This pain will go away. And I kept pacing about and back and forward, stayed upstairs, back between the bedroom and the bathroom and everything. And you'd got me a peppermint tea, because I thought, right, peppermint tea, that'll be fine. That'll help the pain. You know, I'll be grand. And then it got really very, very painful. And I shouted on you, and you come in. I was on the toilet at this point, and I just happened to put my hand down, and I said, I can feel something, I don't know what it is. And you were able to tell me that it was Micah's legs. And from that point, we obviously had phoned the ambulance and everything, but from that point on, everything went, the boys came so quickly. From then, the two of them were born, and the placenta came very, very quick after, which we then later had found out a couple of months later at the post-mortem results that it was due to a placental abruption, which explains why everything happened so quickly.
But it was just surreal, because you watch things on like TV and movies, and you sort of think, I know what I'll do in that situation, and you just don't. And it was like an eye-opening experience for me, because I just, something just engaged, and it was get towels and do this and you know, and before I knew it, I had two little boys in my hands, and I was like this isn't real. Yeah,
we had 999 on the phone, and then they were advising CPR and everything, which I still, as I said to you, I don't know how you did that. Like,
no doubt,
you did amazing. And my worry for you was, I was scared that you were then maybe going to after think I didn't do enough, or maybe I didn't do it right, or what.
Which I think's unnatural.
Yeah.
Kind of feeling.
Yeah.
You know, you're being talked through, you know, CPR, but yet there's these wee tiny boys, and you're sitting there thinking, like, how? Like, I don't want to hurt them, and
I know.
I don't know how.
I think your fatherly instinct, I think, kicked in, and adrenaline and everything. Whereas my mind was not, I had been thinking about things that I really did not matter. Like, I was very conscious of the fact that I had no clothes on because I had been in the bath before and just had been pacing about and everything and still hadn't got dressed. And I thought, the ambulance crew are coming. They can't come in and see me with no clothes on. Like, stupid. But so went obviously and got a nightie and whatever on and stuff, and then the ambulance crew arrived and you went downstairs, and the girl on the phone, I can remember saying, continue with CPR, and even whenever they come up in, you know, say to them to continue with CPR. But at that point, when she had said to me, I physically, even to get down to, I couldn't do it. Which is why I still say for you to be able to do it, and as you have been called by consultant and everything, you were our hero that evening. You really were. Because not many people, as you had been told, not many people would be able to do that at all. And how you were able to do it was just amazing. And I can remember the crew come in, the first one to come in through the bathroom door was Matthew. And I had said to him that they've said on the phone to continue with CPR, and we both just kind of looked at each other, and he had the look on his face as if to say no. And at that point, I've had this conversation with a friend of mine recently, I didn't scream, I didn't squeal, but I can remember thinking, oh, this is it. But it hadn't really, I was still in shock, absolute shock. And then everything we had Bear in the middle of it too.
It was surreal because I was then taken into our bedroom and they were handed to me.
Yeah.
And while the paramedics were looking after you, I was just sitting on our bed,
yeah,
holding our boys and just going like, this isn't it.
Yeah.
This can't be it.
No. I think it just happened so quick, and why I think we say that it was very different experiences. While I was going through the physical side of it too, your experience was different, obviously, because of having to step in with the boys, but not only being worried about the boys, you obviously were worrying about me too.
I was worried about just all the bleeding and
yeah,
worrying if you were okay, and 4 ambulance worth of people in our house, and I'm going like, what's happening here?
Which I didn't even realise until afterwards, until somebody had said. I didn't realise there was 4 ambulances outside.
Yeah, it was definitely surreal because it seemed time went so quickly, but then it felt like an eternity.
Yeah.
And then, you were put into the ambulance and you were taken to the hospital. I didn't go with you because I have to sort you a bag of stuff for the hospital, and I had to make sure Bear was okay and all that sort of stuff. And then literally put you into the ambulance, went back into the house and was just standing, and I was just looking, and it was blood all over my hands, it was all over my clothes, and I was just sitting there and I was just like, what has just happened? And even Bear just walked over to me and just stared at me. And it was just like, I don't know.
Yeah. It all just happened so quick.
So by the time I got cleaned up and changed and got you a bag and got up to the hospital, Laura and Matthew were still there.
Yeah.
And Laura was quite upset. And then when I walked in, she just broke down. And she just grabbed me and she held me so tight, and I was just like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Because, in fairness to them, I'm sure they come across horrendous things, but I don't know. No.
It's something, those 2 guys doing that job, I'm sure they see some horrendous things.
Yeah.
And emergency crews, emergency services, you do not get paid enough for the job that you do.
No.
You don't get enough credit for the job that you do.
No.
And I can never thank you enough.
Yeah.
For everything that you've done.
They were amazing. Really, really amazing.
And the funny story, we had already picked out Micah.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want Michael, but my granddad's called Michael.
Yeah.
And I was named after my granddad, and he wanted to sort of keep a little something.
Yeah. I thought some form of Michael would be lovely.
And Micah was just perfect.
Yeah. So we always knew that our firstborn was going to be Micah.
Or we couldn't sell one name for
Twin 2.
For Twin 2. Twin 1, Twin 2.
Or Twin A, Twin B, as they called them.
And a couple of days even before, we were just sitting in the living room, and we were just, I think it was a baby's name, Alp or something we were just going through.
Something like that.
And you had said to me, what about Matthew? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know. And you were like, I like Matthew. I'm like,
I think Micah and Matthew sounds lovely.
I don't know. And we were like, oh, well, sure, we'll just put a pin in it.
Yeah.
And then one of the, the very person that was living after you was called Matthew.
Yeah. It was whenever...
I was like, I think it's a sign.
Yeah, because whenever you'd come up to the hospital, Laura and Matthew were still there, and they came in to say goodbye to me, because they'd seen you out in the corridor, and they came in to say goodbye to me. And it was whenever I had realised I'd remembered Laura's name, because we were chatting, obviously the 2 of us in the back of the ambulance on the way to the hospital, and then Matthew obviously, had said his name, and we just looked at each other and were like, I remember looking at you going, his name's Matthew. And we were like, that's it then. Micah and Matthew, that's their names, and that's how they became official. Because the crew, the team were amazing. They really, really were. And I think it was just meant to be.
The next few days, I think, were just a mixture of us feeling numb, being on autopilot.
Yeah. I couldn't really sort of think because I had to go for D&C the next day. They were unsure whether they were going to do it or not, whether they needed to, but they decided in the end to do it. So I got that then the next day, but also I didn't feel I couldn't speak to anybody. I didn't want to speak to anybody, which then made me feel awful because you had to do all the ringing and telling, our family and friends.
That was tough. Like, phoning our parents.
Mm-hmm.
And like to this day, like I'll never forget ringing your mum and dad and just hearing your mum scream. They'll never leave me. Never. It was tough. Our parents come up, and I think then my protective bubble was on.
Yeah.
Because it was like she's in here and the boys are in here.
Yeah.
The boys they're in a cold cot and they're with her.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to see them, that's okay.
Completely okay. We never wanted to force or never wanted to pressure. It was completely, we let them decide whether they wanted to see them or not.
I think they wanted to see their grandsons.
Yeah.
So
and they were glad they did.
Yeah. And then the only other people that were in was my brother.
Yeah.
And his wife.
Yeah.
And that was it.
That was it.
It was just closed off. It was a protective bubble just put around.
Yeah.
Because I think we were still trying to process just everything that happened.
Yeah. On that day, I wasn't sure. I always had kind of thought, because we went in, it was the Wednesday evening, well, it was the early hours of Thursday morning that we arrived at the hospital, and I had the D&C on the Thursday, and then obviously there was all conversations. We had to meet with the consultants and everything to have the conversations, which no parent should ever have to have. It's just not the way that it should be, having to decide whether you wanted your child to go or your children to go for a post-mortem or not, whether you wanted to have them cremated, whether you wanted to bury them.
Yeah.
Which,
well, that was the thing. Well, like that, like I had to go and ring the funeral director.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and Jeffrey was phenomenal.
Brilliant.
And again, another job. I just, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
Like, how do you have that conversation with people when they've experienced loss? I just couldn't fathom that at all. So literally I just rang and I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing here. I don't even know what I'm saying. And he was amazing.
He really was. But even with the conversation with us having to decide, between cremation and burial, initially we didn't agree on it. But then we came to the decision of cremation, and I do think it was the right decision.
Yeah.
I definitely do.
I just didn't like the thought of just putting them in a box and just putting them in the ground.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just so strange to me. It was just like, cold, dark, and
something that you never really, I suppose, think of. Obviously we've been to funerals, we've had family pass away, and we never really thought too much about whether they were being cremated or whether they were being buried. But when it comes to your children, it just really made me think.
Like, we still have their ashes.
We do.
And I had a ring made for you with the boys' ashes in it, so that you've always a piece of them with you.
Yeah.
And we haven't made a decision
about
what we're going to do with them. If we're going to do anything with them, we didn't know. But I think when we were having that conversation, that was like, well, if we bury them, well, then we don't have the options.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, that was why I'm not really a spiritual person, not really a religious person, but I just like the thought of setting them free. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah, we've the option to scatter their ashes if we wish.
So that's how we came to that decision.
Yeah. But as we say, it's decisions that it's just not the way, parents shouldn't ever have to.
When you first find out you're going to be a parent, that's the last
thing
that you ever expect that you'll have to be.
No.
Making a decision about.
No, and sadly, a lot of people have to do it.
Yeah. I think coping with it, dealt with things differently.
Yeah.
I know I definitely deal with things differently, and I think it's just, I can't sit still.
No.
I always have to be doing something.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that was part of my coping.
Yeah, but you had a lot to do, like you say. You were ringing round everybody and then dealing with the funeral directors and going back and forward between the hospital to us and then going back home to Bear, because the midwives had said to you were more than welcome to stay with us if you had wanted to, but obviously you needed to go back for Bear. And that's another thing too that we found. It was hard because now there is a bereavement suite in the hospital for parents to be with their babies and spend that time. But we were in a private room in the middle of the delivery ward where one day you were hearing women in labour and screaming, and then the next day you were hearing babies crying, and the staff, I think, they were brilliant, but they were so aware of it and so apologetic, and we can put the radio on, we can put the TV on, and never at any point did I feel rushed to leave or anything like that. They let us spend time with the boys, which we're very, very grateful for, and they did a beautiful canvas of their prints, their hands and feet, which you then got their prints tattooed on your arms. And it is their actual prints, because I know a lot of people, whenever they see your tattoos and think, they go, wow, I don't think people expected them to be the size that they were. They were 28 centimetres long, and feet like you. They look just like you anyway. I didn't get any part of them at all, although I joke and say they got my fingernails, but...
And it was strange for me because I had to leave. That was the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to leave you.
I didn't want you to leave either.
I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave you or them. And then, again, I'm not a spiritual, I'm not a religious person, but if you ever have faith, I went through a whirlwind of emotions where I was leaving, like I'm leaving my wife and our sons, and as I'm leaving the hospital, I'm walking out past a heavily pregnant woman, and she's standing smoking, heavily smoking. And I'm thinking, make this make sense to me.
It's just unfair.
Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's it's a harmful thing you can do to an unborn baby, and yet, they talk about the stages of grief, and there was definitely a lot of anger.
Yeah, grief definitely doesn't follow straight pattern or timeline, or everything can all come at once. It can be delayed reaction, but it definitely, I remember you definitely were angry when you seen that. I remember you telling me all about it.
And even 3 years later, moments will just hit you.
Yeah.
Out of the blue.
Yeah.
Little things. You'll say you go onto social media and you see somebody and they've, I know at least half a dozen people that were expecting around the time that we were expecting.
Yeah.
And then you just randomly go onto social media someday and, you see somebody and they post a post of their son and a football kit, and it's hard.
It does. And that's not to say too that for anybody else, we're delighted for everybody
100%.
else, we're
100%.
so happy for everybody else. We're just got it for ourselves.
Yeah.
It's just hard.
Because that's the one thing now, it's 3 years later.
Mm-hmm.
It's what would they have been like?
Yeah.
What would the wee characters have been like?
Yeah.
Would they have... These are the things that you constantly think about, because these are the things you'll never get to see.
Yeah.
That was hard. It's tough.
And I think the thing with grief and what a lot of people don't say to or even, hear about is that around the time of the funeral and everything, everybody is so supportive. And even since we do have a lot of support, but you very quickly see life goes on and goes back to normal for everybody else. Whereas for us, life after from going through a life-changing event, we're not the same people. And I think sometimes, through no fault of anybody's own, like everybody means well, but sometimes it's like they try to rush your grief, or not rush it, but they try to fix you, or, you know, because they want to make it better for you.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just a matter of just sitting with them and just letting it all out. And just sometimes, I think a lot of the time people don't really know what to say, and sometimes that means they don't say anything at all.
Yeah. And speaking on behalf of men,
Yeah.
we don't talk about things, we keep things to ourselves, and that has been part of my coping mechanism, because I can't not be doing something.
Yeah.
And I have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I buried myself in my YouTube channel.
That's your therapy.
And that was my therapy.
Definitely.
And it still is.
Yeah.
Because when we left the hospital, we both turned around and said, like, everything we do now is for them.
Yeah.
We want to make them proud of their mum and dad.
Yeah. And I think we do that. I really do. I think with our fundraising and with the football match and stuff, which we'll get into in a bit. But I do think, but yeah, we do make them proud. And that's another thing for you. You have thrown yourself into the arranging the football matches and things, and that keeps you busy and everything too. And I have, you know, obviously helped too. In the first year we did the quiz and things like that, and we will be doing more events. It won't just be the football match every year, but keeping busy and stuff, that definitely has been how you've coped. But I know definitely I agree with what you say with men, some women too, but men definitely find it harder to talk. And I suppose there's that thing too, we've all been guilty of saying, let me know if you need anything, or I'm here if you know where I am, and which is all well and good, but when you're low, when you're at your worst, you don't have a clue what you need.
Exactly. Yeah.
You don't know, and you don't want to reach out really to anybody, because you don't want to. I know I personally, I don't want to feel like a burden to anybody.
Yeah. But again, it's that, you know, if you need anything, just let us know. And you're thinking, I don't know what I need.
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't been through this. I don't know. And it comes from a good place.
It does. It does. Because I know I definitely have been guilty of saying it in the past, not realising.
Yeah. But then again, I know that I could pick up the phone to any of my friends that's in my phone, and if I were to say, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
I know that they would be on our doorstep in no time.
Yeah.
So it's just a tough thing to try and navigate through.
Yeah.
For me, I threw myself into work, YouTube, because it was my way of coping. It was my way of, well, I'm doing this for them.
Yeah.
And in doing that, did I, have I maybe alienated myself from people? Maybe. But I'm not the same person I was.
No, you definitely can't be the same person, and that's, I think, sometimes people, nearly give you so long, and it's like, think that you will get back to normal again, but it's a new normal, as we've said. It's, life just isn't, it's just not the same.
It's not something you get over.
No, definitely
You just don't go, well, what's done is done, and it's like, no.
As we say, we're moving forward. We're not moving on.
We're not moving on. We're just moving forward.
Moving forward with them.
They are a part of us. They always will be.
Always will be.
And that's what this is about. This is what TOAK's about.
Yeah.
We're remembering Micah and Matthew.
Yeah. Because that's the thing. Our big purpose and why we do share, I suppose, and always talk about baby loss and stuff, is because we don't want our babies to be forgotten. I think that's in the baby loss community, we are scared that our babies are going to be forgotten, because in the eyes of the world, because they're not official, that they don't exist. Although in saying that, now it has since been passed, there are going to be certificates for babies that were born before 24 weeks, which is brilliant.
Yes.
It helps, and that acknowledgement that they did exist, and that for us as parents, like, even though that our children aren't here, that our parenthood still exists, because I think that's part of it too, because our children can't be seen. Sometimes we don't feel validated as parents, that yes, they're not here, but our parenthood still does exist. It just looks different to everybody else. And this is our way, I suppose, when we're raising awareness and we're doing things in their memory. That's our way of honouring them and keeping their memory alive, because we can't do anything else.
What I think was a really special thing was that bill was passed on your birthday.
Yeah.
You were feeling it on your birthday.
I was. It's always...
And it was definitely a sign, I think.
Yeah, it was, because on that day, it's hard on the big days, birthdays, Christmas, anniversaries, even a random Tuesday, it can hit any time, but especially in those days, I do look for signs. I never really would have before, never really would have thought very much about it before, but on that morning, I just happened to say if there would be any chance there could be any sort of sign today, it would be lovely. And then we got the news that had passed, and I thought, there it is. That's it.
Yeah. Every day is definitely not a walk in the park, because there's even little things. There's a little trigger that, like, we were out furniture shopping recently, and we were talking to a lady, and we were looking at this very table, and first thing she said to us was, because we couldn't decide what chair we wanted, and she's like, "These have kids?" And it's just that awkward.
I hate that question.
Yeah.
It comes for people don't, people innocently ask it, and, it's just one of those things. But I've had that question a few times, and it's really hard. And I think it depends just on the day how to answer, because I remember the very first time I had that question and I said no, and the immediate guilt I felt, because it made me feel like I was disowning them.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I think you say no because you're wanting to spare the other person's feelings, because you're not wanting to make them feel really bad.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things, and I think that's partly, some days I will say not here.
That's part of the reason why I have them on my forearm, because in that moment I turned around to the lady and showed her my arms and went, "We've angels." And she instantly went, "Okay."
Yeah.
And then we sort of talked a wee bit about, about TOAK and that type of thing. And then the first words out of her mouth was,
"That's beautiful."
That's beautiful. And dads don't get the recognition. It's always, "How's the mum?"
Yes.
Nobody asks you how you are.
No.
And I just sort of looked at her and was like, it's weird that you've said that to us.
Because that has been our experience.
Because, it has kind of been our experience. But we were obviously discussing doing this.
Yeah.
And then it was weird that she just said this to us out of the blue. And it was like, wow.
Yeah.
And it kind of gave me a bit of validation as to why we're doing this. Because this is what we're trying to raise awareness for.
And this is why I think we've been so passionate about telling our story. And because sometimes the awareness for dads, they do have more of an input than what you're given credit for. Like, they're your children too. At the end of the day, it's not just the mums. And I can remember back in, even in the early days, you would have come back in from being out of the shop or whatever, because in those early days, and even for a good while, I didn't really want to go out. Even when I went and did shopping, like in the groceries, it was at times that I knew that it was going to be really quiet. But anytime you come in and you'd say, "Oh, such and such was asking for you," and I would say, "And did they ask you how you were?" And you were like, "No."
But then, I didn't even think about that. No. And then I'm sort of sitting going, am I okay?
I know. But I think that's the thing, dads. I think, I'm not speaking for everybody, but you kind of like to put a strong front on. You're the strong one. You're taken care of. Yes. Yeah. And that very much was the case for us. You definitely were the strong one and looked after me. But then, as some would say, because people have said to me, "You're so strong," but we've had no other choice. You don't get a choice. You just have to be. So
then the other side of that coin then is, well, sure, you can get pregnant. So then you can just have another one. And it's like, but I won't replace.
Yeah.
Like in Matthew.
Yeah, we wanted them.
Like if we do end up having another child, that child will have no illusion that they had two brothers.
This is us growing our family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, it's not a, well, we lost your brother, so we had to have you.
Yeah.
No,
No.
that's not,
No.
that's just not the way of it
No.
at all.
No. There's also the side of it. Once you've went through loss, sometimes you're maybe not ready to just try again straight away, or because there's that fear that it could happen again.
Yeah.
Like, I'm under no illusion that if it does happen for us, that we'll be petrified until the moment that the child would arrive and we know that they're safe and well.
Well, it's just human nature.
You know, it's just, I think it takes that innocence away from it all. And even when I see other pregnant women, and I can't help it, I don't obviously say anything, but I think I just hope to God that they get to the end of their pregnancy and get to bring their baby home, because we know that getting a positive pregnancy test does not always mean that you get a healthy baby at the end of it, which is the sad reality.
Yeah. It's something you wouldn't wish on.
No, you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy.
It's a pain like
yeah,
nothing you'll ever feel.
Yeah, and that's, people will say, I can't imagine, and we wouldn't want anybody to ever imagine. And I'd read somewhere somebody saying it was a post or something that somebody's worst nightmare is your reality, and I thought, wow.
Yeah.
Like,
that's powerful.
Yeah.
So we're coming up on 3 years now. So how does coping look to you now compared to what it did at the start?
Very, very differently. I think at the start, if I'm honest, I don't know that I coped with it very well. I think from the outside, I suppose, looking in, it probably looks like I coped better than what I did, because I very much am one that I do think I put on a brave face a lot of the time. But I took my time from work. I was off for a good 8 months and then went back, and I must admit, having that routine, as much as I say doing nothing is one of my favourite things, you always keep me going about that.
If Kylie could do nothing forever, I think she'd be happy.
But I think it's not even just, it's like, I love music, and see if I could sit with my AirPods in and listen to music, and I could happily...
She'd happily do
Yes, I could happily do nothing. Although, part of me thinks now, I don't know, I maybe would have to, I don't know if I could do it for long, long periods of time, but I don't know. But now, I love the saying that in time with grief, they always say that time's a healer, and I don't believe that you're ever fully healed. I think that I'd read somewhere, and I love this quote, that in time, your grief muscles grow stronger.
Yeah.
It's not that time heals, it's your grief muscles grow stronger. And I love that, because I do believe it's true. You learn how to carry it better.
Yeah.
But now I am trying to focus, especially this year, I am trying to focus on self-care and looking after my mental health and physical health. We both have been going to the gym, which definitely has a positive effect on, I know, my mental health anyway. But going to groups and things, I have been to a couple of groups with bereaved mums, and having a group and a space to talk to other people, other mums who just get it, definitely has really helped. And I think having the evenings and things that even the trust put on, like the Wave of Light, the walk around the Remembrance Garden and everything, doing the things like that, and even on the boy's birthday and stuff, we've had a cake for them every year so far, and we'll do the same again this year. We'll set off lanterns.
Right.
That's how I found that I definitely cope. And I think looking for signs, I know not everybody would be into that and maybe wouldn't necessarily believe or whatever, but I definitely, signs are a big thing for me.
Never used to be for me.
Yeah.
I used to think, I can't load out a waffle. Well, that's a load of guff. But yeah, not long after the boys had passed, you've always said to me about white butterflies and robins, and I'm like, yeah,
and white feathers.
And white feathers. I'm like, for its sake, white feathers. But I remember it clear as day. I went down to the post office, and it was a low day. And I come out and there was 2 white butterflies on the windscreen of my car.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought,
Yeah.
that's our boys checking in and just saying, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
I don't believe it to be as much a guff.
No, definitely not. And we have seen 2 robins on a couple of occasions as well. I used to, at the beginning, I would have taken myself off to the loch and sit and have a cup of coffee or whatever and just sit and just look out at the water. I can remember 2 robins had appeared beside me, and there's been on other occasions that they have appeared as well. But the morning, do you remember that we were going for the post-mortem results, the hospital appointment?
Yeah.
There was 2 robins out our back garden.
That's right.
So definitely, I think those wee things are wee comforts, and
Yeah.
they definitely do help.
I like to think of it. There is checking in.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. But I think it's also important to note as well that, yes, that we're still carrying on the grieving process, the grieving journey, but happiness can come back into your life. At the start, it is hard. I can remember at the start, whenever laughing or whatever, you did feel guilty for it. You thought, why am I laughing? I shouldn't be laughing. But happiness and grief can coexist. It is tough, but it's not. I don't ever want anybody to think that we can't have fun again, or if anybody knows us personally in real life, you do know we like to laugh. We do try to get a laugh out of...
We like a good slagging.
Yeah. Even in Micah and Matthew's story, we try to find laughter.
Yeah.
You know, we take light moments where we can. Even the fact that the boys had to go to Liverpool for their post-mortem.
Yeah.
And Michael's a Manchester United fan.
Yeah.
So we do get a wee kick out of that.
So we sort of have a bit of a laugh because we were sort of told they would be away for a period of time, and then they were back kind of quick, and straight away I was like, yeah, see, they couldn't wait to get out of Liverpool.
Yeah.
So just
they didn't want to stay.
Just things like that, it was like, yeah. So let's talk about TOAK. Before we'd even left the hospital, I had this vision of something that we would do every year to remember them and to honour them. So I'm a big football fan, and I've always loved the concept of Soccer Aid. Now, everybody knows what Soccer Aid is. And if you don't, it's a charity football match. Soccer Aid is England versus the rest of the world. And I thought, well, I'm a big Man United fan, so why don't we put together a Man United team and we'll play the rest of the world. So that's when I'd figured United versus the rest of the world. Pretty cool. Or United versus everyone but United, or everyone that hates United. So that was, I wanted to take our pain and turn it into something positive.
Yeah.
And we're now coming up to our 3rd year, and this is going to be our 3rd TOAK Cup. I'm pretty excited. So every year we have raised money for charities and services for baby loss and grieving families. So the first year we did a dual fundraiser for Remember My Baby, volunteer photographers that come in and they took photographs of Micah and Matthew, which was so precious to us. Yeah. We also raised money for the ambulance service, who couldn't have done enough for us. Then in the second year, we raised money for Aching Arms, which provide comfort bearers for grieving families. And that's something that we donate to every year. We donate bears in Micah and Matthew's name for other families, which means a lot to us. So this year, we put our focus onto dads, and we are raising money for SANS. SANS do have quite a big involvement with football for dads and things like that, so that means a lot to us. So that's why we're doing it this year. So we're doing it for all the dads out there who, sometimes you can't talk to somebody, you feel that you don't know what to say. So do you know what? Come play a bit of football. You don't have to come and talk, just come kick a ball. Yeah,
because we do appreciate, I know I have spoken to people in the past who, from talking about our story, they have shared that they've had a loss as well, but they don't like talking about it, and that's completely personal to everybody. Like, if that's how they cope, that's all well and good. It's how what's best for you. But we just thought football, especially because you love football and it's personal to you. I know that through SANS, there's fundraising for walking and stuff too. But we just thought, because they do football and they do try to raise awareness and support for dads, that we thought we'll raise money for them this year.
And what better feeling than going and playing a cup final and lifting a cup at the end of it, or booting somebody, you know? So yeah, so that's what's going to be happening. So our annual TOAK Cup will be taking place on the 27th of June, Saturday, 27th of June, at the Balmain Showgrounds. So if you are local and you want to come and attend, please feel free. We would love to have you.
Cheer from the sidelines.
Yeah, come on down and cheer for United. United. Come down, have a great time. And every year I've sort of been evolving and trying to improve and make things better every year on end. So this year I'm hoping to make it a lot better, and we're going to have a lot more coverage this year, all being well, and we're going to have highlights which we will put up on this channel. And of course, if you don't follow our socials, you can jump onto our socials and there'll be photos and highlights and things like that there as well. So by all means, go and give them a follow and come and join in the fun. So I think we're going to wrap this episode up.
Yeah.
And it's been great.
It has.
It's been nice having you.
Thank you.
And our closing message, I think we just would like to say to everybody out there, if you have experienced loss in any way, shape or form, just please know that you're not alone.
Yeah.
There is always somebody out there that is willing to listen, willing to talk, or just to be there.
Our aim really is to try and bring as much awareness to baby loss as possible. Grief doesn't follow a timeline. There's no finish line. It's just a continuing journey. Everybody deals with it differently. Some people like talking, some people don't. But this is why we've wanted to create this safe space, arrange these events like the football match and things like that for people to come together, keep talking about your children, because whether they're here or whether they're not here, they're still important, and they're still both your children, both mums and dads. Both parents matter.
So I think we'll wrap this episode up. Thank you very much. If you have made it all the way to the end, thank you for sticking with us.
Thank you very much.
We know it's been a bit of a tough subject and perhaps a triggering subject as well, but we just sort of wanted to put our story out there, and hopefully our story can help others that are maybe going through the same experience and just don't know how to talk about it. So we hope this has been helpful, and just please remember, you're not alone. And please, if you feel that you don't have anybody, feel free to reach out. And
yeah, if anybody has any questions or anything they would like to ask from what we have discussed today, we'll leave our contact information for our socials and everything in the description below. If anybody has any further topics or anything that they would like us to discuss in future episodes as well, let us know. And stay tuned for the TOAK Cup highlights coming, because I've got some funny plans in the works, and it should be a laugh. So stay tuned. All right. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.